Brittingham and co host the incomparable Dr. The Real Deal Love, Edward Johnson. Sit back and relax while we give you advice and tips on business matters and matters of the heart for busy executives. And now, Katrina and Edward.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy after Thanksgiving. I hope yours was wonderful. This is Katrina Brittingham, your business consultant and your navigator on the road to success. And we have Dr. The Real Deal, Love the Love Coach.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We talked about productivity during the Thanksgiving season, and now we are just talking about tips for a successful business as a whole as we prepare for the new year. This is
Mm,
also our last
2024.
recording of 2023 as we are going on our little break and coming back for the next season.
Mm-hmm.
The first January after the new year, the first January, the
Mm,
first Monday. Woo, see,
of
I'm already ready
January.
for the holiday.
Yes,
The
yes,
first
yes.
Monday after the new year, because January 1st is actually on a Monday this year. So we will be with you on the 8th of
Okay.
January with our
Dang.
love topic. Huh?
All right. Love for the new year. A love for the new year.
Love for
Yes.
the new year. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you get your cocoa, you get your blanket, you get your honey bunny.
Yes. And get ready. Get ready for love in 2024.
I can't believe it, 2024.
Isn't that something?
Yes. I remember
Wow.
when we were preparing for 2000. Yes, I'm dating myself.
2000. You're right.
And everybody
2000.
thought all the technology was going to break overnight.
Yes, yes. Because it wasn't able to read the triple zeros or the double zeros. Yeah.
So they said.
So they said. Never
But
happened.
we woke up on January 1st and still had all our technology
Without a glitch. Without a glitch.
without a glitch. But it shows that it pays to be prepared either way. We wanted to be prepared for that. Everyone was scared that everything was going down, and well, we had our plans just in case everything went down and we didn't need it. Thank goodness, because the first thing I did on New Year's Day, after I did my celebrations and stuff like that, was I ran to my computer to see if my computer worked.
would boot up and come on.
Then
Yeah.
I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I checked it
Yeah. I mean, I had
again.
I had colleagues who was like they were upset. They said I spent all this money for camping gear,
Yes,
candles, canned food. You know, they
shelters.
yes, I spent all this money and for what? You know, so now I Goldberg's and all those stores. Can you take back camping gear? Do you take back? You know, so it was just. I mean, it was from those who prepared for it to those who just said if we have a glitch, I'll just deal with it. Everyone didn't go overboard. Some people just kind of like said, I'll sit and wait.
Yeah, that's what
Others,
I did.
canned goods, candles, flashlights, batteries, the whole gamut, getting ready for the glitch. Never
hmm
happened.
I prepared a little bit. I was very young when that
Hmm.
happened. So I was like, yeah, I'll put some stuff up. Cause my mother's like, oh, we gotta do. I'll put a little stuff up. Thank
Hmm.
God it wasn't a catastrophe because I wouldn't have been prepared.
Oh
Because I
yeah,
had a little stock. but but when
yeah.
you're young, you don't really think about stuff like that. But it brings us into being prepared and having the tips for business. And the first thing, number one, do you want to
Okay.
guess, Dr. Love, what the number one thing is?
Number one thing. Oh wow, what could the number one thing be? What is his tips for?
A successful business.
Mm, first thing would be something about plans. No?
Not quite. What do we talk about? What do you follow?
What do you follow?
The money, honey.
Oh, okay. Oh, That was the back of my mind. Bottom line, dollars and cents.
Follow the money, honey. So the
Hmm.
first thing is invoicing and collecting timely payments. That is number one to a successful
Okay.
business. Why is it number one? Because if you don't get your cash flowing, you're not going to have a business.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's the lifeline. That's the blood. That's the blood of the business.
That is the blood of the business.
That's
So
right.
don't forget to check your accounts receivable, look at aging reports for any balances that you have outstanding. If after 30 days you have failed to receive a payment, set up a reminder, have your templates done. We talked about automation to send out that bill that you need, whatever software you use for it, or if you are still using spreadsheets, make sure you're checking those spreadsheets and you're sending
Hmm.
out what you need to send out to send that friendly reminder.
Hmm.
If you have some larger companies that require 90-day terms, we talked about this too. It might be possible for you to receive financing to help you in your accounts receivable until that money comes in.
Hmm.
So go to your local bank or credit union, whatever it is that you use to have your financing so that you can pay that balance when it becomes due. Okay?
Hmm.
So, number two is also money. Understand your financial statements. We went over the financial statements. You can check YouTube, LinkedIn,
Hmm.
anywhere where you have me and Dr. Love on there and go and check the past
Hmm.
videos. And don't forget to get your likes in. I stopped saying that. Don't forget to get your likes in. That
Okay.
helps us out on our social channels. It
Hmm.
costs you nothing, but it helps us out a great deal.
A great deal.
All right. So find out about your income statement, your balance sheet, your statement of cash flows. And yes, we went through all of that. So you can find that out there. It's important to track these three items: your monthly expenses, your income expenses, to understand where your money is coming from and where it is going to.
Was going. Hmm.
If you are just starting your business, it is crucial that you have enough working capital. We talked about that too in the finance series, that you can cover your expenses while you are building up your sales. If you have that 90-day statement from a large contract, you want to make sure you have enough money to cover you, all right, while you're waiting for that payment to come in. All
Hmm.
right, so it is very good for you to do that, whether you're a startup or whether you've been in business for a while, because people that are in business for a while, small businesses sometimes don't think to look at those things because they're so busy. Make time so you can survive. Make sure you're setting up a business budget and that you're not breaking your budget.
Hmm.
So it's good to manage your finances. Anything to add to that, Dr. Love?
I think that's a good point to make because always remember when you borrow money, that the term is that costs you money. It
Mm-hmm.
costs money to borrow money. There's a cost there. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a 90 days count receivable, 60 days, 30 days count receivable, you need cash flow to carry you through those 90 days, but you want to make sure you calculate what is it costing you for that money because that's cutting into your profit. So look
Mm-hmm.
at your financial statement, know your numbers. So when you're borrowing money, the rate of interest, you know what I'm saying, and how long you will hold this money, make sure you factor that in because that is costing you X number of dollars and that cuts into your profit.
It
So
does.
just make sure you check those numbers out.
Check the numbers out. Make sure you're paying it on time because there's more numbers that you have to pay if you're not paying on time.
That's right. Late fees, that's how they make their money. Late fees.
Late fees and interest compounded.
Hmm.
Number three is understand your customers completely or as completely as possible because we're all
Possible.
unpredictable.
Hmm.
Um, if you want to be successful, you need to have an overall holistic view of your customers, okay, or your market, similar to how well you know your mama, or I would say the back of your hand. Some people don't know their
Hmm.
mama.
Yeah. Well, you know what came to mind just real quick was, what is this? Is that Siri that Amazon put out? I saw
No, Siri is Apple.
Apple. Who
Alexa.
was Alexa? Alexa. You know, they called them on the carpet about that. They said, "Did you tell the people that Alexa was, as well as it delivers information, it retrieves information. So
Mhm.
they collect data from in your home. When Alexa is on, it's picking up data and information so that they know their customer, as you just said, totally. So,
Um,
go ahead, what are you
Siri
going to
and
say?
Google does it too. If you have a smartphone or any type of smart device,
That's
it's
right.
listening to you.
That's right. If it's on, it's listening. So just know how the big boys are, and it's really considered spying because most consumers didn't know that it was retrieving information and recording their conversation and sending it back to these large companies. So that's
Mhm.
where they're going to know their customer. And I'm talking about know everything. They said, I want to know everything about my consumer so that I can provide the service necessary. You don't have to go that far, but as Miss Katrina said, know
Well,
your
that's
avatar.
that's that's uh they did let people know, but it was in the fine print. And who reads the fine print?
Hmm.
This girl. Um
Hmm. Yes.
and
You learn to read the fine print.
yes, I learned very young
Yeah, you get
to
burned a
read the
few
fine
times.
print because one
Hmm.
time I didn't, and that fine print came back to bite me. So read the fine print. Even with the cookies and the little pop-ups that says, "Oh, I knew terms and conditions," before you just click yes, you want to go through and look with those terms and conditions, and they do have something about third party selling your stuff. What are they using the data for? And they're having you check off to agree or not to agree to it. Most people just go and just check, 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 click
Agree.
accept
Agree.
because they just want to get through it. But yeah, that's why, um, especially with smart TVs now, but with your phone now, next thing you know, you're getting a commercial about something you talked about. Sometimes I get commercials about stuff other people talk about. Like I could have been talking to somebody and somebody asked me about um some store. Did you hear about Bobby Jean's store? I'm just making up a store. Next thing you know, the next commercial I have that comes in and pops in is about Bobby Jean's store. And I'm like, I didn't say anything about Bobby Jean's store. And then I
Hmm.
had to think about it.
Yes,
But
that's right.
that was their way of getting to know you, getting to know your habits, to know what to sell you. And so that is exactly the same premise, Dr. Love. So that was actually perfect. Um, because it tells you where, when, and the best time to engage them. Siri, Alexa, and I don't want to say that too long, too loud. Google, I don't want to say that too
Hmm.
loud because Google, I have Google and Android all over the place, because that's the type of girl I am. And it will listen to me and even come on and say, "Did you say?"
Hmm.
But
You called?
yes, and so you know where they're located. They know where you're located. You can drive past something and then you'll get a pop up. Do you need gas? Do you need, different things will pop up, and how they attain that information. We know how they attain it. You have to know how you attain your information. Yeah, you need
Hmm.
to know how your people attain their information. So it's important to do thorough research to ensure that your message reach the intended target. So, like Dr. Love said, that's their research, and they're making sure that it hits the intended person, no matter how annoying it is to me.
Hmm.
Number 4 is get close to your competition. Keep your enemies close. Your friends close and your enemies closer, even
Closer
though your competition is not your enemy per se.
per
Um,
se, per se.
um, it's important to know your competitors in order to understand their strengths and their weaknesses.
It is
This
important.
will this will give you information that you can use to look at areas where you can add a unique product or service that your competitors do not offer, which will give you an edge in your market. You can also use the information to understand any potential weaknesses they have, which can be used as an opportunity for you to attract more customers or to capture an unsafe market. What makes this fair? They're doing the same thing with you.
Hmm.
They're looking at your strengths, they're looking at your weaknesses, and they're looking for those opportunities to squeak in there for something that you don't provide.
That's right. All is
Any
fair.
comments?
All is
All is
all is
fair
fair. All is fair. You know what I mean? Because
in love
business,
and war.
all is been in love and war. You know what I'm saying? And business is just that. It's the combination. It's love and war. It's not hostile, but and believe you me, it's who can win the bigger slice of the pie.
Definitely. Because everyone's trying to make money. Everyone's trying to be the best of the best. And that is just the nature of the beast.
Hmm.
So get to know your competition. 5. Guess what 5 is about? Hmm.
Things that make you go,
Would you like to guess, Dr. Love?
Five would be position yourself. Has anything positioning?
Close, because this will
Close?
position you.
Okay.
Higher slow and higher fast.
Higher slow and higher fast.
hmm
Okay.
And we're going to explain that. But that
Okay.
is your resource. People are a resource.
Yes.
Okay? They have a whole department geared to it. Do you know what that department is called?
Mm-hmm. Human
What?
resource.
Human resources. All right. So take your time and make sure to hire the correct candidate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So interview at least 3 candidates. At least three. You can interview more for the position. Interview him or her 3 times. All right. For example, you do the initial interview, have the candidate come in for a formal interview, do the final interview. The final interview view can be a little more informal, out of the office environment, if that's how you do it, or that's how you do business. All right. If you're a small business, sometimes you could do that. The next one can be, the last one could be like, oh, let's go to lunch or let's go for coffee. Meet me at this coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, if I got to that point where they were like, "Oh, let's meet for lunch or talk over coffee," I knew pretty much
I got the job.
it
I
was a good
got the job.
situation
That's a good sign. I got the job.
because they take you for a lunch interview, they're paying.
That's right.
Anytime they're paying you or paying for something, paying for coffee, you know they're
They don't
willing
waste
to
their
invest
money.
in you.
They don't waste their money
Um,
nor their time.
Additionally, have the candidate interview with a minimum of 3 key people. All right. The first one is the phone interview is 9 times out of 10 HR. The second interview is the person that you're going to be working for, the supervisor and a manager. The next one, 9 times out of 10, is their boss. Now, if that third interview, you're sitting there with the COO, CFO, so you, ding ding, unless you
Hmm.
screw that interview up, you pretty much have that job.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Um, these 3 people will give you a different perspective of the overall candidate. And it does work. Okay. Finally, always check references. Always, always, always. No matter how much you love that candidate, check
Hmm.
their references.
Hmm.
Many people, many companies have gotten in trouble by not checking those references
Hmm.
because sometimes people can interview well and then you check their references. And Bobby Jim
Hmm.
was not as qualified as you thought.
Hmm. Or
Now,
or he was qualified but had some incidents in the background. You know what I'm saying? I just had I just had that situation with a board that we're on, where the candidate was absolutely qualified, absolutely charismatic, absolutely knew what to say, but has a couple of incidents that indicated they were insensitive to a certain area and to a certain people,
mm,
and it just helps to know. So what you're saying is just be thorough, because even though this person had these incidents, that doesn't mean that they're still there, but it just gives you a broad perspective of this
hmm
person, their background, and they may have grown since that particular time, but at least you know everything that's in their past and you can have it on the table rather than getting blindsided because you didn't take the
hmm
time to get to know everything that's possible.
absolutely. Because references, and I wanted to say that too, that references are not always the end all be all because it could have been a one off incident. It could have been a
Hmm.
learning experience. It could have
Hmm.
been that maybe this person just had an off situation.
Hmm.
Um, or it could be something totally different.
Hmm.
It could have been that where they were, people were insensitive to who they were. That has happened. Um, and you find yourself that you have an excellent worker, but they were just in the wrong environment.
Hmm.
And I'll put it that way. And I'm leaving it at that.
Okay.
But um, when an employee is not performing well to the position requirements, it is better to let the person go sooner rather than later. And I'm sorry, I've read that wrong. Hire slow, and it says fire fast. I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like
Hmm.
you should hire fast because 3 interviews can go by fast, and I feel like you should fire slow.
Hmm.
Simply because you can fire someone great without giving them the opportunity. Because it
Hmm.
says that the person is not performing well, the first thing you need to do is find out why they're not performing well. So that is where your corrective action policy come in. They might get a warning,
Hmm.
okay, because it could simply be, okay, maybe this warning will snap them back to verbal. Then you have the written warning. Then you have the termination. But in between those steps, there should be something in between, some conversations. You know, what's going on, da da da. Because you will be surprised from an employee which you might find out about your department or the manager that you have over them or something. So always kind of like do your due diligence. So I wouldn't necessarily say fire fast
Okay. Okay.
because fire
Yeah.
fast you can lose like half your staff. Production could be low because it's something wrong with the system that they're using. Or it could be something with training that they weren't trained on, a gap
Hmm.
in your desk procedures. And you're firing all these people real fast. You bring these people in, you still have that gap in your desk procedures, and then they're not meeting up to the qualifications.
Hmm.
So, you know, make sure you take your proper steps.
Hmm.
No, just
Yeah.
off with their head.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why I saw that incorrectly. Higher, slow, higher, fast. Because I'm
Hmm.
like, no, I've been in places, I've been in leadership in places where they were so ready to fire, and I'm like, wait a minute. You're saying they're doing this, and I actually went through some things. I looked at the system, tested the system, like, Then I sat with a person and watched them work, and was like, And then I came back with my evaluation, and I ended up saving quite a few. very talented individuals that the company would not have been at a benefit to let go.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
the thing on that is, when it comes down to, letting people go, that is that is a process, because when it comes down to firing, the truth of the matter is, I didn't fire you, you fired yourself. You know what I'm
Sometimes.
saying? And that's the reason you want to make sure you take through that. You want to make sure you go through that process to make sure that they're clear that everything they did led up to this, rather than
Mhm.
them being surprised. And that's why you go through all the chain of commands, all the different channels, because if they if they're saying let me go because they didn't want to do this, that whatever the circumstance is, if you go through it with them and go over it with them, then you start removing all of the
Mhm.
barriers that could kind of like cause them to think
Mhm.
that you did something wrong to them,
Mhm.
rather than them understanding you
Yeah.
just wasn't performing.
What you want to do is ensure the person fired themselves.
Hmm.
And because and let's keep it real. In my time, I've had to fire people. It's never comfortable. But
Hmm.
when someone is fired, you want them to have fired themselves.
Hmm.
You never want to, fire someone, or you get to the point where you're firing 4, 5, 6 people only to find out that you didn't have a desk procedure in place. Like, you trained them and they did everything that you trained them to do. You
Hmm.
handed them this desk procedure. They followed the desk procedure to the T and they still got fired.
Yeah, that's not good.
Um, so that if it's a sense where people are coming to you about this specific supervisor. It's not just this one person, it's the whole department. Um, maybe it's time to take a look at their upstream
Hmm.
and everything like that. Because when you fire fast, sometimes you fire the wrong person.
Hmm. You
Sometimes you
misfire. It's
might
called
need to
misfire. Hmm.
retrain a supervisor, because I'm not always first to say off with their heads. But if they're not willing, it might be that you're getting rid of one person instead of getting rid of a whole team of 8 people.
Hmm.
So yeah. I have a list of things and everything like that, but sometimes I don't agree with that list, or sometimes I have something extra to say about it. But that's why I have, after I said what I said, I happen to look and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not an age. I don't agree with that. Um,
Hmm.
and here's why.
Okay.
But there are times where you may have to move quickly if someone violated a policy, if someone harassed somebody, if somebody did something that's just truly a fireable offense on
Hmm.
the spot. Yes, you want to fire fast. So that's what I said. In that statement in itself, I don't agree with. There are times you do hire fire fast. There are times that you do fire slow. There are times that you hire slow, and there are some times that you do hire fast. It really depends on the situation.
Hmm.
And with that being said, we are out at the half an hour already. Thank
Already.
you, thank you,
Wow.
thank you for joining us for this high tea with me, the last one of the season. So then we will be coming back. We just came into our eighth season. We are going to be in the ninth season of High Tea with me. Can you believe
Wow.
it?
Wow. Time flies when
So
you're having fun.
it does. It does. And I'm so appreciative to everyone. To my co-host, Dr. Love. So appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your expertise. And I will see you. And I will see you as my audience next year.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you as well. And to the audience, we thank you and we appreciate you for tuning in,
Mhm.
because without you, none of this is possible.
None of it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with me. To be a sponsor or a guest, contact us at info@ventureready.net. Thank you again